It's echoing around the country where they're talking about becoming much more flexible in their zoning and their retail opportunities for pop-up retail, be it nonprofits or the arts or retail or even restaurants. With these types of changes and that new flexibility, Dan, what type of opportunities do you see this presenting for our small local retailers?
Well, I think this gives us the opportunity to put our toes in the water instead of jumping, head first. I think this gives us an opportunity to sample our marketplace. Let's get proof of concept here. Let's go do a pop-up, across town in a neighboring city or a neighboring town, and let's try it. This idea of short-term pop-up retail is not new. You'll remember, back in December, January, we had Steve Brooks, who is the pop-up expert. I mean, this guy has built a world-renowned business on the pop-up retail model. And this opportunity that the pandemic for us has created, in short-term pop-up retail means that every single retailer now has the opportunity to test expansion. And the ones that have long thought about being, perhaps in a mall, I'd never understand why, but perhaps thought about being in a mall, now there's an opportunity to go and do a 30, 60, 90-day stint in a mall and test the traffic, test the water, test the rates, test your factors, or across town. I mean, if you look at every downtown core in Canada right now, boy, there's lots of opportunity to pop up a shop. And landlords, are probably going to become more and more open to lower investment, short-term leases. They're not going to spend 150 grand or 75 bucks a foot, building out your space for you to exit quickly. Right.
Get a little creative on that front. Well, if you didn't like your lease rates up here, from this story, they talked about it was $300 a square foot.
Yeah. There's no question.
Get down to a couple hundred.
And we're going to see that in different areas. We see certainly elevated lease rates in those hot retail pockets across the country. But here we are, Northern Alberta, our retail rates are going to soften a little bit, which is good for retail. It's good to test the water.
Yeah. When you think about testing the water, Dan, I'm a small local retailer. I like the idea. There's an area of town we're not in. I want to expand there. When it comes to your team, and kind of that dividing your own team, because you got to send some leadership over there to help run it. What's your experience with that with some of the retailers you worked with?
I think that we always see a bit of attrition when we try to split our team up and and depending on distance. We're not going to have a store in Edmonton, Alberta, and drive south 3 or 3.5 hours to Calgary, every day with an employee, or we're going to have to hire a team that's specific to that location. And I believe in the power of local. I believe in the power of community. I'm going to hire somebody from within that community, and I'm going to bring them into my fold, let them adapt to our values, and then re-represent that in that neighboring community or opportunity. So certainly, we have to be careful not to split teams, not to, assume that someone wants to leave the comfort of the home that you've created for them to go find something else or go work something else.
Do you think that's one of the bigger barriers to that, be it fear or just that's probably one of the bigger things holding a small retailer back from taking that pop-up step?
Yeah, a lot of small retailers, while they got into this, world that's riddled with risk and mediocrity, they fear risk, and they bring every excuse possible. I said to a retailer yesterday, maybe it's time we open another door. It's like I had 3 heads.
Yeah.
Are you crazy? Listen, it's not a bad idea. Yeah. This is the time to look at expansion. There will be opportunity. And if your vision sees more doors, now's the time to start looking at that opportunity. We've seen through this last 6 months, we've seen retailers close doors and open doors. There is a mix. And that retailer that's prepared to take a little bit of risk and not use excuse, to prevent growth, they're gonna see some great opportunities.
Right on.